Good evening and welcome to Monday night's promo with Woodsy and the very deaf K-Dog.
Pardon?
Homemade ear trumpet there.
Yeah.
Hello, Mutton and Jeff. Yeah. Okay. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Just to let you know, we don't even know who's coming on the episode 7 of the Masked Cricketer, so could be a good one tomorrow. We might be in the dark as much as you, but it will still be your chance, of course, to hashtag Ask the Mask. So as normal, we have got a special guest on tonight. Can we beat the interview that we had last week with young George Hiley, which I thoroughly enjoyed? I have to say that got over 1,000 views actually, and that was down to George's answering some of the questions. I think he was absolutely superb. It was really good to get George on. So without further ado, because we really want to go and see Oxford City play on BT Sport tonight, Kieran, what we got? What thank yous have we got?
Sorry, what was that? I can't hear you. I think everybody else is watching the football as well at the moment because there's not too many on. But I will tell you what we've got coming up. So, we haven't got a clue, basically, who's coming up tomorrow. We will have somebody. It will be somebody good, no doubt. Hopefully, we will get as many of you as possible to join us again tomorrow at 7 o'clock for Ask the Mask. Hopefully Daryl doesn't sing that song again, but I gather that moves are afoot to get him into the top 10, into the hit parade or whatever they call it nowadays. So that'll be interesting to see if that comes off. I doubt it will, but we shall see. So tomorrow's Ask the Mask is going to be somebody, male or female, will be as much of a guest for you as it is for us at the moment. We're hoping to get somebody really good on. We have a couple of irons in the fire, so it's quite exciting actually in many ways, because if we don't know, you've got no chance of guessing. And I would venture to suggest that Mark Reed will not guess who it is this week, and if he does, he deserves 2 bottles of wine, doesn't he?
Does that prove we just do throw this program together?
We really do, particularly this week. So so join us tomorrow for that. We've got a few thank yous. There's one person which we'll thank in person shortly, but I'm going to thank Graham Woodward from Grape Minds. I'm going to put this the wrong way around for Darryl now. He's probably got it all lined up the right way. So Grape Minds in Summertown in Oxford, Graham Woodward, thank you again for your support. Thank you for providing the prize. I forgot to mention last week actually who was first to guess Matthew Hoggard. We had 3 or 4 that came in all at once, but the first one out of the hat, so to speak, the first one that correctly guessed and had me hiding very quickly was Simon Davey. He won the bottle of wine last week. He correctly guessed Matthew Hoggard, closely followed by Sam King. But no, sorry, Sam, you were second, so you didn't get yesterday last week. But there's always a chance this week. If you can guess him, fair play to you, because we haven't got a clue. Or her, exactly. We don't know who it is, so it could be anybody. It really could. Massive thank you, Graham. We are, as always, very grateful for your support. We're very grateful to Sports Shops, Andy Bone and Lorna Bone, for all your sporting coverage. They are filling a real gap in the market that's been left by local newspapers, sadly not covering local sport as they might. So thank you again, Andy and Lorna. Please visit Sport Shots. It's a really good website for all your local sporting needs. Thank you to Lindsay Penn and We Don't Like Cricket, the Facebook group, who allows us to put all our stuff in his group, and to Joe Cockcroft for Sports Members Oxfordshire. Again, very grateful that you allow us to publish our content in your group. And I'm going to say before we start, good luck Oxford City tonight. Good luck Mick Livesey. He lives and breathes Oxford City. Oxford City Football Club could be the only Oxfordshire side left in the FA Cup. In fact, they're the only Oxfordshire side in the draw for the second round, which has just happened because their game hasn't kicked off yet. So best of luck to Oxford City tonight against Northampton Town. Let's bring it home for Oxfordshire and do what Oxford United couldn't do and get into round 2.
Hang on, Brackley are in the round, aren't they?
Brackley's in Northamptonshire, Daryl. Do not go there.
I beg to differ.
I can assure you it's in Northamptonshire because I used to work there. I cross the border every day, so trust me.
Close. Right, I think let's bring our guest on. Welcome, Paul Humphreys.
Good evening, guys.
How you doing?
Hello.
It is thrown together, everybody. I've been sat in the green room and there's not a touch of alcohol in there.
It's terrible.
Quite ironic that you've got Mickey Mouse in the background because that's exactly what we are.
It was deliberate, Kieran. I only bought them this afternoon just for you.
I reckon Mickey Mouse is in the foreground, actually.
You're right.
Nodding there. Brilliant. Nice to see you, Humps. How you doing?
Yeah, you see, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, they're really good. Really good.
I mean, just another thank you again for what you did for us on the charity match and the sponsored shirts, etc. It was really, they were fantastic, weren't they? And it was just a fantastic day. Just give us a little bit of an insight in Pop Activation.
Well, we're a retail display design company, so we work with a lot of brands designing their permanent display solutions. So, it's my job to make you buy things in stores you didn't know you wanted. So, K-Dog, if you used to you don't go home with quite so much chocolate as you used to do. But a few years back, you'd probably helped pay my mortgage for me, I think. So yeah, I'm not sure there's a massive reach out there for trying to get new customers for Pop Activation. That was never the intention on the sponsorship. It was just really a very public way of showing my appreciation for the effort that you two have put in, because what started as a little idea during lockdown with a couple of old lags, myself included, sat in a Sainsbury's carrier bag, has now transcended that, and you're now getting some of the world's best cricketers, not some of the county's worst cricketers, up on it, and you've raised a huge amount of money for charity, and you should both pat yourselves on the back. You've done a brilliant job, and I'm very proud of you both. That's
very kind of you. So actually, I will say myself and Kieran did a podcast for Oxfordshire Cricket last week, and Kieran's favourite episode is getting you on, actually. So that is on the podcast. I think it's because you suffered under a Sainsbury's bag for about 20 minutes.
It took a while. And that's how little I'm known, Daryl, that I did manage to drink a bottle of red underneath a Sainsbury's carrier bag. That must be a first. You should get Ross McWhirter on the job for that one.
Yeah. The reason I said it was my favourite episode, Paul, was obviously first and foremost that you were the guest, but the other reason was the hilarity of Rob Cunliffe scurrying around his house trying to get his Wi-Fi to work, and we had two of you on, and we had a tour of Rob's house while he was dressed as Darth Vader, and he just couldn't get it to work. It just sort of typified what we've said all along, that we do just throw this together, and that proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, very good.
I think it was great, Humps, that we had a story of the village knockouts. We haven't had too many of those, since and before. So, but it was a really good angle on the day that Princess Di died, and it was a story, and it was also great that how Shipton had got there and done it, and continue to be a force in village knockout history. Really, It just, I know in hindsight, after we asked one or two questions on that, what was your favourite moment of that day?
My favourite moment of the whole journey was the final wicket in the semi-final, because we were away in Milstead. They're a smashing bunch of lads actually, and they're a very good team and lots of vocal support. But it's that moment as a village cricketer that you probably would never dream of having the chance to play in a Lord's Cup final. So when that moment happened, that was it. We kind of all stood in the middle of the pitch and looked at each other and said, "Bloody hell, we're going to go play at Lord's," or something like that. And then it was a really odd occasion because, as you rightly said, Daryl, the sad passing of Princess Diana meant that myself and Jeff Miles had to go down to Lord's and meet with the secretary of the MCC to decide whether the game was even going to go ahead. That would have been awful after winning 10 games of cricket to then, end up playing at Roehampton or something. Wouldn't have quite had the same edge to it. So, but because there was about 3,000 Scousers coming down from the Wirral, probably tanked up by the time they arrived at Lord's, they probably thought that socially it was probably best to let the game go ahead, and so that's what they did. But walking out onto the Lord's surface is one thing, but to answer your question, I think it was the moment for me when I opened the bowling from the pavilion end, and it was called over the tannoy. So I stood with the new pill, with the pavilion behind me, as they said, opening the bowling is the Shipton under which we captain Paul Humphreys from the pavilion end. What I should have done was really just wander up to the umpire, give him the ball, and go, "It's not going to get any better than that," and gone down the pub, to be honest. But I didn't bowl badly. I bowled okay, and I thought we bowled and fielded brilliantly to keep them down to 160 with a under 13s boundary to one side. But sadly, we didn't bat. We had all the batting in the team. And you look at that team with the likes of Gillett, Hartley, Constable, Felix McDonald, Sam Mendes. I mean, that was a very, very deep order that stopped at 10. No guesses who was at 11. But on the day we only scored 110 runs. We could probably go through that 50 times and it would never happen again, because they weren't that good to have skittled us for that. But hey, there you go. We played there.
Yeah, absolutely. What an occasion! I think he wants to ask a question. I can see.
I was just trying to listen, really. I was struggling to hear again. But no, I was going to say, obviously, a couple of years later, of course, Shipton did return there and win it. And we've said it before, Paul, but we'll say it again, is Oxfordshire, in terms of Village Cup and Village Knockout, you get through the Oxfordshire group and you've got a pretty good chance normally, because there's some really strong sides in the county, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's Shipton, obviously 3 times at Lord's, Tiddington, Great Chew, and others have gone really close. Downs have gone close a couple of times. Rowan has been to the semi-final 3 times. And I think it does show the strength of Oxfordshire village cricket and how well the clubs are run, actually, because you don't go deep in those competitions unless you've got a band of people working really hard at the club on the facilities and making sure that everything's right on the day is actually vitally important. So you're right. I mean, if you win the Oxfordshire group, it almost gives you a bit of a lift, because you think, well, if we've won the Oxfordshire group, we stand a really good chance of going deep in the competition, because it's probably the toughest group in the country to win.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's so many good quality sides. Quick question, actually, just changing tack slightly. We did a radio show on Friday talking about the amalgamation of the 2 big leagues, OCA, obviously the big league, and the Cherwell League, the sort of the smaller league. Only joking, Daryl. We actually had a massive amount of engagement on that radio program, more than we've ever had. We had questions coming in thick and fast. We couldn't get to them all, which was quite humbling, really. It meant that a lot of people were listening. As a former chairman of a club and a player that's played in Oxfordshire for many years, what are your thoughts on this amalgamation? Do you think it's good for Oxfordshire cricket?
I think it's a necessity for Oxfordshire cricket, Kieran. I've never really seen the benefit of now. In my dotage, I now apply my trade in Division 8, I think it is, of the Cherwell League. Mainly bringing on the youngsters at Aston Rowan, and that's something that I get, I do get quite a lot out of, less out of my game, more out of nurture and guidance and teaching them the right way to play. I really don't see the point, though, with 5 or 6, 13 and 14-year-olds going from Ashton Rowan to the other side of Brackley, Milton Keynes, to play a game of cricket when we're driving past Watlington, Stokenchurch and everybody else. So I think, keeping youngsters in the game, which is such a fast-moving game on television now with the advent of T20s, dragging them 3 hours away to play in a 50-over game, I think is pointless. I think we need to wake up a little bit, play shorter versions, closer to home, engage with parents and get them to come and watch the children play, and also and build it from the bottom. I think when you get to players that are more committed at first and second team level, certainly their commitment says that they're happier to travel further distances to try to play as best cricket as they can. But at the bottom of the pyramid, it's more about getting a game on, playing it locally, and trying to keep as many people in the sport that we love rather than losing them.
Here. I totally agree with you. Maybe at some point, Daryl, in the coming weeks, we might maybe get a little panel, a little round table panel, and perhaps have a little debate about it, because it's something that surprised me how interested people were on Friday. Maybe that's an option to get some of these other questions asked. Perhaps get Ian Royal and Dave Warner around the table and do a sort of a vodcast and see if anybody wants to join us, because it really has generated massive interest, and it's pleasing to see, actually, isn't it? Because it just goes to show how much cricket means to the people of this county and beyond. Because obviously the Charlie, it's not just Oxfordshire. We're talking about all the neighbouring counties as well. So it is massive news, and hopefully it's going to be a good move all around.
Yep.
I think it was really interesting that one of the questions that Ian Royal answered from the OCA was, it's not sustainable, because there were 6 clubs looking to join the Cherwell League. That was being 12 teams, pretty much. Might have been more than that. That can't, you can't sustain a league like that. So I think from that perspective alone, it just made sense that talks were opened up, and 96% and 88% voted for it. So it's an overwhelming vote and decision, isn't it? At the end of the day,
absolutely. And this year's been even more difficult with COVID being around and people deciding to switch off of cricket and not play because it wasn't competitive, or there wasn't enough games, or they didn't want to play for other reasons. Cricket's got to work really, really hard to keep people in the sport next year, and to build it back again. And when you see, even in the Cherwell League, some of the bigger clubs that have got 3 and 4 sides have had to drop a side this year just to keep going, and that puts an awful lot of pressure on the administrators of the leagues as well. When they've got teams dropping out, if not clubs dropping out, how do they manage it? So I think it's a very sensible decision, and one that I think will make Oxfordshire get stronger as a result. So.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Totally agree, Hunt. I know you'd come back from Turkey just recently in quarantine. What was that like for you?
What, quarantine or Turkey?
Well,
the holiday was amazing, and they are brilliant there. I mean, you can't go into the buffet areas if there's too many people in there. Socially distancing in all the restaurants, or the staff's got face coverings on. They couldn't have done it better. Then I get here and get told that we have to quarantine. We flew out the day before. They made us quarantine for 2 weeks when we got back. But we thought there was little or no danger of us catching anything while we were there. When we came back, we stopped at Sainsbury, and I've never seen so many people in Sainsbury trying to get their shopping. So we just thought, we sat on our underpants for 2 weeks, 2 meters from everybody, and now we're in Sainsbury, and there must be 250 people in there. So, but yeah, we luckily, both my wife Sarah and I, we both work from home anyway. So actually, we're very lucky in that respect, that we just business as usual.
It's really bizarre, isn't it? I've been able to do some coaching. I did some coaching on Saturday, and I was very wary, because ECB, the guidelines are there. I can do outdoor one-to-ones, and it was a nice day on yesterday, and I managed to do some. But you can't play golf. It's just bonkers.
Yeah. It is. Somebody said the other day that I thought was funny that that you can go out for a walk with your wife or your husband, but you can't play tennis with them, and that just about sums it up when you think about it like that. But
I think you're a bit closer when you're walking together, holding hands.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
It's strange times we all live in, and it's ever changing, I guess. Hopefully, some kind of partially good news came out today about a potential vaccines speeded up a bit. So, I think we all need it because there's only fingers crossed. My wine consumption's gone up. My wife's become a much better baker as a result of it. So unless I start to be allowed to get out or something, I'll have to get a bigger door fitted. I'm never gonna make that tour with you in April, Woods, if I carry on like this.
Well, I'm hoping that tour's going to go ahead because it's been cancelled a couple of times now.
It has been, yeah. I'll get on the Virgin aircraft and I'll be given one of those extra safety belts that really fat people have to wear.
I'm sure you're okay there, Hums. You're looking well, mate. You're looking well, to be fair.
Yeah, okay. It's good lighting, Daryl.
Lighting.
Daryl, stop press whilst we're talking. Our masked cricketer for tomorrow has contacted me to say that he or she has been stuck at work today, and that's why he or she hasn't been able to come on, but has assured me that he or she will be fine tomorrow and has apologised. So I think we can say we're all systems go and it's worth coming on. So just to let you know. Yeah. That's why I was typing away there, Paul.
We're back live. We're back live. These things happen in life, and masked cricketer. One thing I say, I've pointed down again at our scroll. We're doing it for the Lord's Taverners and Disability Cricket. If you feel like you can give a donation, please go to our Just Giving page and search the Masked Cricketer. And likewise, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, that would be brilliant, because it's like anything. If we can raise a little bit more money by getting subscriptions in for YouTube and our Facebook group grows, that it's not massive amounts of money, but it helps to anything helps towards the Lord's Taverners. So any help is truly appreciated. Hums, thanks for joining us. Is there anything else you wanted to say while you're with us?
I just think carry on the good work, and it's only as strong as you two guys that have put in the effort in. But having started this kind of snowball that's turned into an avalanche, continue to do the good work, and hopefully people do listen and subscribe, even if it's a couple of quid, or a $5 or something like that. It does all add up. And we've seen from what you've been putting on Facebook that it's having a real impact with disability cricket, and it's held in very high regard now by the Lord's Taverners themselves. So even to get to that point, I think you've done an incredible job. But we've got to keep the momentum going, guys. We will be supporting you next year in the next game. As I mentioned to you, Daryl, we'll put some more money in the pot for the shirts or whatever you want. And we'll ask that everybody else in the county, if you can, a couple of quid goes a long way. Yeah.
And hopefully you don't get a dodgy decision if you're playing next year.
That was a shocking decision.
Should we own up and tell him that we paid the umpire for that decision?
No, because we didn't. But I mean, the classic would be it would have been fine if it would have been me or K-Dog. I'd have totally accepted that. We would have deserved it. Do you know what I mean? But not the main sponsor of the event.
Not the main sponsor. So whoever you borrowed that bloody Lord's Taverners tie from, I suggest you give it back to them.
Daryl, I think the grand total of runs from our two sponsors was naught, wasn't it? Because Graham was run out without facing a ball, I believe.
You're losing sponsors. You're losing sponsors by the second here, Kieran. I mean, you've really chirped up now. You've got somebody tomorrow night, haven't you?
I've chirped up because I'm watching the Oxford City game on the other camera, and they're actually losing, but they're playing really well. So just saying, 1-0 down.
1-0 down, are they? Oh dear. Never mind. Okay. Thanks again, Hums, for joining us, and obviously being a massive contributor to our cause. We thank you very much, and good luck with pop activation in the future. And I'm sure we will touch base at some point. But for now, Mr. Hundreds, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Cheers,
Mr.
guys. All the
Humphrey.
best.
Thank you, Mickey Mouse, as well. Good to join us.
And that probably just leaves me to say thanks again for joining. Don't forget, tomorrow night we now have a show, so please join us at 7 o'clock on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel.
Sorry, 1-1.
1-1. City have got back. Good. Right, I'm going to put BT Sport on now and get across to have a little look at the City. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your evening. Obviously, stay safe. We will see you hopefully tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Bye for now.